Hey kids, it's Jurassic James. Just explains. We're looking at Afrovenator. So I only have two models of this guy. It's my first and only one. The one's my icon from the website. This guy from Collect A 2010, and of course Jurassic World just came out with one very recently. So the first thing to point out, Afrovenator, it was discovered in 1993, very important year in paleontology, and in Niger, Africa. And so what's really interesting about this dinosaur is that when it was first discovered, it's been associated with this guy here. This is called Jobaria. This is a Collect A 2010. So the idea is that these, if you look up Afrovenator, you will hear about Jobaria. If you look up Jobaria, they're in the same paper, basically, same region. So initially, they were discovered, and this area in Niger, Africa, was thought to be early Cretaceous period. So we think Africa Cretaceous, your first thought is like Spinosaurus. But the idea here is that that's late Cretaceous. Then you go, early Cretaceous is Suchomimus and Tyrannosaurs, right? And it's like, yes, but they were, there's slightly different layers of rock. It turns out those sediments were not rediscovered, they were reanalyzed, and they realized that it was mid-Jurassic. So this guy lived about 167 million years ago. So it's a mid-Jurassic theropod, which is a big deal because in Jobaria we've now been placing. Like, well, how do you go from going from 110 to 100? The idea is that the sediments around them were aged. And when they say a dinosaur lived, let's say, 65 million years ago, we don't test the dinosaur itself. What happens is we look at the sediment around it. And in general, you can't even test sedimentary rocks because sedimentary rocks, by their very definition, come from other rocks. So say some granite formed a billion years ago, and then the quartz in it is eroded down, and it goes in a river, it becomes sandstone. The sandstone may have formed 30 million years ago, but the quartz may have formed a billion years ago. So you can't study sedimentary rocks. It's the igneous rocks around them, usually, do radiometric dating. So say, for example, you find like a T-Rex, and you have a iridium layer here at 66 million years ago, and a lava flow layer somewhere around the geology at 60 million years ago, 68 million years ago. So you have this kind of like, it's in this range, right? So sedimentology and stuff is its own talk, but for this guy's story, for Afrovenator, whose name means African, Venator, hunter, that's why you see some early descriptions of it saying early Cretaceous and now Middle Jurassic. That's all we're saying. The important thing is that the Middle Jurassic of Africa is very not well known. And so yes, it's from Niger where we find these other guys who I've talked about 1,000 times in their environment. What's really cool about this is that this is a peek into an area we don't normally see in this time. Now, with that being said, the skeleton of this guy, Afrovenator, was pretty... You never find... This is like a 23 foot long dinosaur, pretty big guy. And so the idea, well, actually, when I say it's 20-something feet long, people go, that is pretty big, but not really, because you think of like T-Rex, who's like 40, and Spinosaurus. But the truth is, that's still a big animal, right? And so they found the hip bones, a lot of the leg bones. They found parts of the tail, parts of the arm. They found a lot of the animal, a lot of the skull, actually, too. And so it's a really good find. So it's not like sometimes I talk about this, and it's like, oh, they found 2 bones. It's like, okay, this is a pretty well defined. You can look at the picture online of the skeleton of this animal and which parts they have. Now, of course, it has, all the parts. It has, there's 3 toes going forward and a dew claw in the back, so that's really good. There's 3 claws here on the hand. The one thing to point out, it is not printed. It's like this. It's like humanoid. And also it's on, now, Paul Sereno being one of the chief on the paper, Dr. Sereno referenced that it has longer arms. Walking on 4 legs is not a thing. My guess is that this particular design is it drinking from a river or something. I don't know. But even then, they can't put their hands like that. Their hands don't turn that way, right? No dinosaur does that. At least theropods. And so, again, overall, it is a megalosaur dinosaur. I'm going to talk about its family tree in a minute, but let's get to the actual toy, the actual Jurassic World toy, the unboxing with my official scissors of Jurassic James. What's really funny about the idea of this is that I just got these scissors at Renfest. My wife bought them for me because they're very fancy, and I'm very fancy sometimes. And so, actually I am very fancy because when you go to paleontology digs and you see most people, they're not wearing what I wear. So I'm wearing this on video. People, oh, it's your costume for your video. No, this is how I actually dress in the field. The picture show, I think I did videos at this point of Utah last year. And so the idea here is most paleontologists just trying to dress comfortable in the field. And so I am fancy, therefore I get fancy scissors. Now, what am I not getting off here? The leg is still tied in there. So, but the thing I didn't realize is that this being the official scissors became a bit for you guys. I did not realize that at first. There we go. No tail. No. The tail is buried in there so people can't steal it. And easy, easy. Let's use normal force. There we go. Now, take your tail, plug it in there. It has this weird little fringe in the bottom. I don't know what that's supposed to be, so I'm not going to talk about it. Oh, this is kind of weird. It has like a hollow translucentness to the... You probably can't see it in the video, but... or maybe the lights are just hitting it weird. I don't know. That's really neat. I get why in the Jurassic World line, if you're putting out all these theropod dinosaurs, how do they become different, you know? So, and it being a megasaur and it being older, make it weirder, right? The hands are really great. The hands, which is ironic, the hands on this one, terrible. The hands on this one, awesome. They're holding like that, right? Very cool. My only suggestion would be that they don't have thumbs, but the first toe is often, first digit. It's often usually, not further back, but not, it's like there's two main ones, like, it's not a thumb though, but it's like a little bit more, you know, on its own. Here they're all equally dispersed. There's three toes in the front, there's two on the back. I will tell you this little crest here, I looked up the picture of the skull. I mean, they found lots of the skull. They did not find the very tip. So this is speculation. I mean, whether or not it's a fleshy, it's supposed to represent in its toy, a fleshy growth or some kind of little crest like something in the early Tyrannosaur, the Proceratosaur, like the Guanlong, those guys. If I were to look at it, given how Jurassic World has shown their toys, my assumption would have been this is kind of weird Tyrannosaur, early Tyrannosaur from China kind of thing. But that's a trait they've associated with the early Tyrannosaur, Protoceratosaurids. Anyway, I'm getting off the topic. The point is, there's no proof of this. Again, was there some cool growth or feature? We don't know. Megalosaurs in general, and that's what he's classified as primarily, as in the some kind of close Megalosaurid. That group was initially a wastebasket taxon. What does that mean? When we find a dinosaur, we being paleontology, or any biology really, find a dinosaur or critter, and we're not sure how it fits in, we make a group name for like everything we're not sure what it is. So Megalosaurus, like a lot of dinosaurs, like the Dilophosaurs, a lot of them, you look at their history, and at one point they were considered a Megalosaurid, right? And the idea is that they were not sure, this means big lizard. And so that's a very general group. But in recent history, we've redefined Megalosaurus, which I think I went over in my Megalosaurus video. So to explain to you why this matters, because why am I talking about this for like 3 minutes or 2 minutes, is that we know what time period he's in. He's in Middle Jurassic, Africa, big deal. That's not sarcastic, but it really is a big deal. So who is it related to? And so there was this show in the 1990s, and it was people find it very entertaining. I thought it was very sad. The show is called Maury, and Maury Povich would do paternity tests when people didn't know who their father was. And the thing was, they would say they have an envelope, and they would talk the story. How did you meet, and who else have you dated, and et cetera, et cetera. And then there was like this big dramatic point when they're like, we have the DNA test here, and he'd open it up and go, you, and if he goes, you are the father. The guy would go, no, which is terrible in my opinion, and then he'd run. Or if he was not the father, the woman would just scream and run out behind the set, and then the camera crew would follow her while she's running behind the set in this emotional problem, and then the guy would be like doing a dance and stuff. It was a horrible, horrible show, emotionally terrible. The point is, we're trying to find out this guy's lineage. So the idea here is, who is he like? What the bones we have, what can we compare them to the other dinosaurs? So initially, the argument is it's like a Megalosaurus. And I've already done a video on Megalosaurus. And so the Megalosaur group initially, again, was the wastebasket taxon. We now consider it a more defined group. Many of the dinosaurs that were in it are now in their families. The Megalosaurs are closest as a group to the Spinosaurs, although they're very much nothing alike. And so what's the big deal with that? This guy is closer to Megalosaurus than the Spinosaurus, but it is closer to them than it is the Allosaurus, and even more closer to them than it is the Coelurosaurs, which include the T-Rex, stay in camera, T-Rex, and the Velociraptor. So the Coelurosaurs in general are the dinosaurs we associated with being feather dinosaurs. I mean, for sure, like, we find members of this group with feathers on them, right? And so that's Coelurosaurs. And initially they were all thought to be very small, and then they found those Tyrannosaurs or Coelurosaurs, so surprise. The Allosaurids are another group too, not Coelurosaurs, not Megalosaurus, Spinosaurus. So within this branch, think of it like how we have carnivora in mammals, not just that you eat meat, but the order. And there are like the seals, and then there's the dogs, canids, and then there's the felids for cats and panthera for big cats. There's these different groupings. So within theropod, I know to most people everything's like T-Rex, but actually T-Rex is the most famous theropod, frankly. And so the idea is that within the theropod group, you can't have that many giant, not even giant, that many dinosaurs and think they're all the same kind of thing. They have the same ancestry, but they are different branches of the family tree. And so it's almost like saying in a DNA family tree thing, like, who is your sibling? And it's got a Megalosaurus. And who is your first removed cousin? Is Spinosaurus. Who's your second removed cousin? Is Allosaurus. Who's your third or fourth removed cousin? Distant cousin is the Tyrannosaurus. So they're all related, but they're who's closer to each one. And so that's why, as of right now, on my website, as of this video being filmed and uploaded, I consider this guy a Megalosaurid. There's a lot of debate in paleontology of where it fits in, how it fits in, etc. But I'm going to go with that. So until I find a better paper, we're going to go with that. Now, Afrovenator is important because, one, a lot of dinosaurs I'm assuming, are from North America, possibly Asia, Europe. South America is getting more famous too. Africa is known for the Spinosaurus, but we're seeing dinosaurs from every continent. And so, one thing I want to know, what's your opinion on this? Comment, subscribe, etc. But if you would like me to do, I mean, I'm still going through a lot of toys. I have like a lot from 2025 I've not gone through. I've had a rough year. So I think we all did. So the idea is, after I get through all those toys, would you be interested in me doing like a Dinosaurs of Africa and a Dinosaurs of South America and Dinosaurs of Australia top, or maybe just, I don't know, let me know, okay? With that being said, I'm going to go to work now. Have a good day. Thank you.